Right, now we're going to look at making up a compress. The principle is exactly the same whether you're making up a hot compress or a cold compress. Okay? With a hot compress, you want the water to be as boiling hot as possible without injuring anybody. Okay? So if you're boiling a kettle, you need to make sure you're letting the kettle cool down quite a little bit. So what I'm going to do just now while I'm talking is I'm actually just going to pour this out of here, and I might have to add some cold water. Okay. Normally we would use a pudding bowl, okay, but in this case we don't have a pudding bowl, so we're just using a small bowl here, which has probably got about ½ a litre of water in it. The other thing you'll need is a cloth. Now I am just going to go and add some cold water to this because it is too hot. Just keep filming, that's okay. So I'm just going to add some cold water to this to make sure it's not going to burn myself nor the person I'm applying the compress to. Now, so now we've got about a litre of water in here. I'm going to wet the cloth first because in my experience, I've found a wet cloth works far better than a dry one. You've got less scooping up to do. Okay, some dye coming out that cloth there, but never mind about that. So we've now got a wet cloth here. And what we're going to do is we're going to add some oils. In a pudding bowl, about a 2-pint pudding bowl, you would add maybe 8 to 12 drops. In this one, I'm going to put probably 6 drops of oil. And I'm going to just use 2 drops of lavender. And 2 drops of rosemary. And 2 drops of lemon. And I'm just making a warming and uplifting blend which will sort of lift the spirits in this cold weather, and also any aches and pains that you've got with driving 20 miles in the snow. That should sort of ease off. And what you do is you take your cloth and you just swirl the oils. Now I don't know if we can get a close-in on that, but I don't know if the light will see it, but the oils will float on the surface because they're not water soluble, and that's what you want. And because you've already got a wet cloth, all you do is you just drop your oils over and you just scoop them up like so. Wring out, and the oils, most of the oil is now on the cloth. And you're just going to apply it to the area. In this case, we're applying it on the back of the client's neck. And just to keep the heat in, we just wrap a little cloth around the neck like that. This is ideal for if you have an injury, maybe a long-term, a chronic injury for hot compresses. So something that's been there for a little while, a stiff neck, maybe because you've been studying on your computer for too long, for weeks and weeks. The heat will soothe, especially in the winter. The theory is you use a cold compress, and the water should be ice cold. You can actually add ice cubes, then they add the oil in exactly the same way. Cold compress for acute injuries. So for instance, if somebody had a wee whiplash accident on their way to work here or on their way to college, you would apply a cold compress. But you have to take that with a balance of your client's body type as well. Some people can't bear cold, especially in cold weather like this, so it might pay to actually make a warm compress and alternate between hot and cold. There's lots of different theories about whether you should apply hot compresses or cold compresses. I think it's a matter of trial and error and knowing your client, because some clients just can't bear cold and some clients can't bear heat, so you work with your client. Does that feel okay for you?
That's lovely.
Yeah. Normally you would leave this on for maybe 5–10 minutes, depending on how hot you'd managed to apply it. Depends where it is. If it's over a whole back, you probably put a quite hot compress on. Where the areas are most sensitive, it won't be as hot. Obviously this is cooling down all the time here. So once it's cool, you just remove the towel, remove the compress, and you reapply. You'll still have oil floating about on the top here, so we just again dip, scoop, wring. Okay, so it's dip, scoop, ring, scoop up all the oils, fold it up, and just reapply. And then again, just cover to keep it warm. If you're using a cold compress, let's just say somebody had an arm injury and you were applying an ice compress, you could apply the compress and you can wrap it in cling film to hold it in place. And that will keep the compress on the part of the body that you're wanting it to be applied to. And it's that simple. If you're making up a foot spa, for instance, you might have maybe, 2-3 litres of water in there. So you would maybe want to put a maximum of 12 drops into the foot spa. And again, if it's for something in the winter, you want warming oils, your rosemaries, your eucalyptuses, your peppermints to soothe sore feet and things like that. And you would have the heat on, obviously, as well. So when it's water, we don't apply the volume principle. I think you're understanding that, because obviously if you've got 20 litres of water in a bath, you're not going to put in lots and lots of oil. You're going to use maybe 12 drops maximum. And that's all that the client will need, because you don't want to overload the client. But when you're actually making up any of the oils that we're talking about, any of the gels, creams, lotions, then you are measuring them out and either dividing by 2 if you're making up your 2.5%, or if you're making them up for a child. For instance, if we had this 50-gram bottle and we wanted to make up a chest scrub for a child, we would divide it by 5 to get our 1%. So in 50 grams divided by 5, we would put 10 drops in for a child for a vaporized chest scrub, for instance. Finally, if you're doing inhalations and you're just using, for instance, a handkerchief, something like that, then just use common sense. An ordinary handkerchief, and you just put a couple of drops of oil on to inhale. What to do is wait until they've completely evaporated before applying any more. Otherwise, you'll get irritation with the oils coming in contact with the skin. Advise the clients not to hold the mask or the tissue right against their face, just to inhale from it, and not to actually put it against their skin, so they don't get any irritation around their mouth or their nose, especially if it's a child. 1 drop usually does a trick at a time. If you want to mix oils, only use 1 drop of each. That would be my advice. Okay, while you're filming, are there any questions you think that you would like to ask that I can answer on the video?
No, I think basically you've covered it.
I think we're covered?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. What I'm also going to do, folks, and this will be the part that really pleases you, is there is an open book question paper for you to answer on creams and gels. If you read the handout which I've told you about in the first little VT, read your chapter in your book, which is in your teaching plan, and then answer the questions about creams and gels. It's things like, why would you use an aloe vera gel? And I already told you what it's good for. So use that and hand that in to me. I'll give you the date when I email it through to you. Okay? And hopefully we'll see you all tomorrow. Say bye, everybody.
Bye.